How's it going, everybody? David Hedge here, House Hedge Gaming, and today I'm going over my top 6 matches from WrestleMania 38 in Texas last weekend. I know everybody's done like the reviews for the entire show, but I wanted to give you guys my highlights of what I thoroughly enjoyed from the night of WrestleMania, the 2 nights of WrestleMania. It was a work shift, the 8 hours of watching wrestling, but you know what? It was an enjoyable wrestling work shift, so let's get to it. So number 6, right off the bat, we're going to start crazy. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, anything goes. Now, this was a match that everybody's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a cluster muck. And it was, but in a good way. It had a lot of the jackassery and shenanigans that I thought it would, but it also was a very entertaining match. When you have a giant mousetrap, you had a table covered in mousetraps, you had fireworks, you had a bullhorn, you had a automatic kicking machine that didn't work automatically. You also had Wee Man hitting the slam around the world against Sami Zayn. And you had Party Boy just going around doing his thing. What more can you ask for out of a jackass match? Oh yeah, a giant hand hitting Sami Zayn right in the face as he's running away from Johnny Knoxville with a taser. Now, this match has been somewhat of a dividing line for wrestling fans. Some fans liked it, some fans don't, and both sides, it's your opinion, and I respect that opinion. You're entitled to it. For me, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and if you are a wrestling fan, you would have found it enjoyable. If you're not a wrestling fan, it definitely caught your attention, and you probably enjoyed it no matter what. And I'll give you a prime example of this. Watching WrestleMania, it was my wife, our friend Crystal, and I, and those two, they were just doing their own thing. My wife was crocheting, Crystal was on her phone. But then when the match of Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville started to get a little bit crazy, they started watching it and they were laughing the entire time. It was thoroughly enjoyable, and it was one of those matches that on a wrestling card like WrestleMania that had a little bit of something for everybody, this was the comedy slash, hey, you might not be in the wrestling, but we're going to get your attention with this one. And that's exactly what they did. Having the finish be Sami Zayn getting caught in the mousetrap and Johnny Knoxville getting the win with all of his friends around, I thought was a great moment. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Johnny Knoxville held up his end of the bargain, and he did what he could in the match. And even though he's getting up there in age and his body's definitely been through a lot, I think he did a great job. And if people don't like that, Johnny Knoxville's not going to be around every week. This was a once in a blue moon match. For the people that enjoyed it, awesome. And I was one of them. So, Johnny Knoxville, thanks for getting your butt whooped and giving us entertainment at WrestleMania. Number 5 on my list is the Miz and Logan Paul versus the Mysterios. And this match justifies me having a channel that covers both gaming and wrestling when you have Logan Paul at the grandest stage of them all, coming down to the aisle with a $6 million Pokemon card around his neck. So it justifies me having a channel of covering wrestling and gaming, so thank you, Logan Paul. I appreciate it. You justified my channel. You'll never see it, but you know what? That's fine. This match was really good. It was a great little tag match to get everything going. It was the 3rd match on the card, and the Mysterios came out. Dominic had a tribute to Eddie Guerrero, in his ring gear, which was cool, but then Logan Paul topped it, and I'll go over that in a second. Logan Paul and The Miz came out. Logan Paul looks like $1 million. Actually, $7 million. He has $6 million around his neck. Logan Paul definitely, he should be in wrestling. There, I said it. I thought he was going to be able to hold his own. I just didn't know how well. And he carried himself like a superstar during this match. Everything he did was very deliberate, and it was the right pace. He didn't rush. But the biggest thing that he did, and a lot of people are going to remember from the match, is not just the $6 million Pokemon card, but he hit the 3 Amigos and a Frog Splash on a Mysterio. Which for people in Texas, that means a lot, because the Mysterios and the Guerreros had a feud going on for years, especially Eddie and Ray in WCW and WWE. And you had Logan Paul, when he hit that first suplex, it was great. But then the leg kicked up and he did that twist to pick up Mysterio again to hit the second one. And then he hit the third one. And then he gets up, he does a little Eddie Guerrero dance, gets up on the top rope and hits a dang perfect frog splash and almost gets the win. and the fans went nuts. They hated it. And I don't blame them. Like, they just saw a Mysterio get hit by the late Eddie Guerrero's finisher, by Logan Paul. Like, they had a right to be mad. And the match was really good. The ending was a little bit weird after Miz and Logan Paul get the win, and then the Miz hits the skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul, and we'll see what happens with that feud later on down the line. But as far as the match goes, it was really entertaining. And Logan Paul having that as the first match for celebrities for the night definitely set the bar pretty high for the other two celebrity matches. My number 4 match on this list, which is going to be a little bit weird because I know it's a match that I thought was going to steal the show, which was Edge versus AJ Styles. And the main thing was the pacing of the match. It was a more methodical, a diabolical pace because of Edge's new character, which, by the way, his entrance with the new music was fantastic on this night. And then AJ Styles gets attacked by the entrance ramp and gets busted open. So that started off the tone of how the match was going to be. It was like, man, AJ got beat up by the stage. This might not be a good match for him. But it was really good the second half of the match when they started picking up the pace and everything. The ending of it was a little bit weird because you had Damian Priest out of nowhere just at ringside looking at AJ Styles. And AJ just looks down and goes, "Sup?" And he gets ready to hit the phenomenal forearm, but Edge catches him midair with the spear. 1, 2, 3. And then Damian Priest comes in and they start laughing at each other. And you see the beginnings of a formation of a new faction in WWE. And I cannot wait to see what Edge is going to do with this. So, but like I said, the match was really good. It didn't have that type of big time feel. And a lot of it might be because of the build, because the build's been a little bit weird for this match too. So we'll see what happens in the future. Hopefully Edge and AJ will get another shot at each other and it'll blow this match out of the water. But until then, that's my thoughts on this match. That's the reason why it's number 4 on my list. Number 3 is Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory with Vince McMahon at ringside. McAfee was the third and final celebrity match of WrestleMania, and it was the best one. Like, McAfee is a natural athlete. You could tell from that in the football when he was doing NFL. And he's been training in wrestling for years. And he showed what he could do against Adam Cole in NXT. He did part of the War Games match with his faction against the Undisputed Era. And this was his first singles match in WWE on the biggest stage of them all, in what turned out to be the semi-main event of WrestleMania Night 2. And these two had a great match. Like, McAfee can definitely take an ass whooping. Austin Theory is undoubtedly, if he stays out of trouble, one of the best stars that is possibly, at 24 years old, he's still got a long ways away from going into the Hall of Fame. Because he's going to be in wrestling for a long time. And I think he can be that next big superstar. Like probably right at Cena level or Austin level, years down the line. But right now, he's a great young cocky heel, having the big boss in his corner. And the big part of this match that I'll remember, they were on the top rope, and Austin Theory pushes McAfee off. McAfee does a backflip onto the apron, and then he just looks up at Austin Theory. Austin Theory has this look on his face like, oh, crap. And McAfee runs and jumps to the top rope and then hits a superplex. And it was a spectacular thing. It was very athletic. And then McAfee gets the win. But then the match, it got a little bit weird because McMahon had his match with McAfee. And it wasn't a match. Just McMahon, even though he's north of 70-year-old man that's jacked up to the gills. And he doesn't have that mobility, though, that he used to. And he just, like, his clotheslines are very rigid. Thankfully, he didn't hit any punches because McAfee would have been knocked out 3 ways past Sunday. But I wish they could have done something different for that part of the match, or of that part of this whole segment. I wish they could have done it to where McMahon he took off the shirt, showed he was still jacked, gets in the ring, gets ready to go at it, and then Austin Theory sneaks back in, hits McAfee with his finisher, and then McMahon goes, "Now ring the bell." Bell rings. He covers McAfee 1, 2, 3. Short and simple. Fans would have still hated him. And then the music plays, and out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Austin, which, by the way, his match with Kevin Owens didn't make my top, But then again, that was more nostalgia, and it was like a really great match, but there's still other matches that ranked a little bit higher. But Austin, seeing him one more time was excellent. Seeing him 2 times, one on each night, was even better. But you had Austin come out there. He hits Austin Theory with probably the best stunner. He hits him with a stunner. Austin Theory does 15 backflips, 2 front flips, and a half gainer, goes out the ring. And then he's in there with McMahon. and when he's in there with McMahon, they both are drinking beers. McMahon has the Broken Skull Ale, and he's doing like the little sip deal of like testing and going, really good vintage, 2021. And then they do both drink at the same time. And then Austin hits a stunner. The worst stunner in wrestling history. He hits McMahon with a kick. And McMahon's bones all of a sudden went, nope, we're out. And he just crumbles and then bounces back up and then wiggle wobbles to the ropes. Austin's like reaching for him like a kid reaching for a candy cane at the candy shop. And he's reaching for him, and he finally grabs him, hits him with a stunner, and McMahon just crumbles. Like, there's no bones left in his body. And Austin, when you see him pop up and he starts walking around, he has the biggest grin on his face because he knows, like, this is the stupidest thing that's ever happened. But it's awesome and amazing because it's in front of a Texas crowd. And then he hits McAfee with a stunner, and McAfee does, like, this fountain timber type deal where he's drinking beer, and Austin hits him with a stunner, and then he just has beer coming out, and he's falling back. And then you see a moment later, he's on ringside drinking a beer while he's still selling from the stunner. But that middle part was a little bit weird, but the beginning of the match, the whole match entirely with Austin Theory and McAfee, and then the ending with Austin was great. And it was the reason why it's my number 3. Number 2 match of the 2 nights for WrestleMania is Seth Rollins versus a returning Cody Rhodes. This was great. Like, Seth Rollins comes out and he's acting all cocky. He gets in the ring and he's dancing around, and then his music goes off. He's like, all right, where's my opponent? Come on, don't keep me waiting. And then you start seeing that little bit of seriousness on his face, like, where's my opponent? And then the fireworks go off, lights go down. Then you hear the music hit for Cody Rhodes, and Cody comes up from the stage. Fans go nuts. And it was a moment. And there was one moment in this match that really symbolized that Cody was officially shedding his old WWE skin. Was that towards the beginning of the match, Cody hits an arm drag on Seth Rollins. And then he does the cartwheel and the Stardust pose. And that's basically him going like, enough of this crap. He just sheds the skin of Stardust. And he just went and showed what he was able to do in 6 years away from WWE, where he trained it over in Japan, went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, became part of the Bullet Club, then went and started his own company in AEW. And now he's back in WWE to prove something and to do something that his dad couldn't do, which was to get the heavyweight championship. So, but this match had everything in it. It was a great, frantic pace for the most part. The ending of it with Rhodes hitting 2 crossroads and then picking Rollins up and hitting the flip-flop and fly with a bionic elbow as a tribute to the American Dream, Death Rhodes, his daddy, the son of a plumber, making him the grandson of a plumber, was amazing. And then hitting the 3rd crossroads for the 1, 2, 3. I loved the match. And it was a great way for Cody Rhodes to come back. And may they keep him in a main event status for a long time. And hopefully they give him a run with the title. But only the future will prove what happens with Mr. Rhodes going down the line. So my number 1 match for WrestleMania 38, WrestleMania 2022, is, in my mind, is Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. I thought this match was fantastic. The entrances was great. Having Bianca Belair come out and do her thing with the marching band. I wish she could have had a little more seriousness, because compared to what Becky Lynch did, she came out in an SUV, brand new haircut she had to get, courtesy of what Bianca Belair did to her on Raw the previous week. And she came out there with that full serious look on her face, like, I'm going to get my revenge. And then you have Bianca Belair come out still doing the exact same thing she always does, doesn't deviate from the plan of her entrance, of twirling the hair, smiling and everything, getting people riled up behind her. But it should have been a little bit more serious for her. She should have went in there going like, okay, I gotta get serious because this is a big match, but also Becky Lynch is looking for revenge, and I gotta put on my game face. But when they got in there, they told a great story. Becky Lynch trying to get the finish on Bianca Belair early. She was getting frustrated because she couldn't do it as easily as she did at SummerSlam, and they just had a great physical match where the ending came after Bianca Belair hit the KOD on Becky Lynch for the 1-2-3. The fans got a huge ovation, and this was a great culmination of 1 year of storytelling between WrestleMania last year with Bianca winning the belt from Sasha Banks at the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania to losing it at SummerSlam in 30 seconds to Becky Lynch and then working her way back up to get the title shot and being able to defeat Becky Lynch for the title that she lost in under 30 seconds. So it was a great feel-good moment for WrestleMania, and that's the reason why it's my top. Like, this match had everything you wanted. Great storytelling in the match, great long-term storytelling, and the culmination of it for this match. And I wish WWE would do more stuff like this. Like, don't rush everything. Like, let it build up, let it simmer, and then it come to a rolling boil, and then you finish it off with a great match like this. So, but those are my top matches from WrestleMania 38. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Let everybody know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all your gaming and wrestling needs. And if you guys like this video, I'll keep doing them. If you don't, let me know what I'm doing wrong, and I'll be more than glad to adjust accordingly. So, but thank you guys for checking out this video. And until next time, stay safe and take care.